What up, everyone? You already know who it is. And if you don't know who it is, my name is Landon. I'm a graphic designer. I'm a video editor. I'm a media guy. And I'm also a part-time musician in my church. And one of the things I can say for sure is that one of the greatest things I could have ever done is learning Ableton Live and learning how to run tracks for my worship ministry in my church. Now, I started doing this a bit over 2 years ago, and I've learned that, when you're doing stuff like when you have a band that's only two people or something like that, if that's your situation, or if you only have one singer or something like that. Of course, multi-tracks and Loop Community have their apps, with playback and Prime and everything. But I really wanted to show you kind of like the software that they both kind of direct you to when you're doing this. And the software, again, is called Ableton Live. It's a digital audio workstation that's, of course, is geared toward producers and everything. But you can also, I think this is one of the only DAWs where you can do this the way that, everyone says, repeating sections and jumping around and stuff like that. Well, you're here today because you came to learn about how you can really use Ableton Live and max it out. And the truth is, I'm not showing you how to max it out today. I'm not even showing you how you can automate lyrics and lights and stuff like that. You want to learn that, then you want to go see Jake Gosselin in the church front, or, a bunch of guys talk about that. But one of the most notable ones is Jake Gosselin. I'll link his page in the description. But yeah, I want to show you how just for music, if you're just getting started with it, I don't want to overwhelm you with all the automation and MIDI stuff. But, well, we're going to be doing a little bit of MIDI work today. But anyway, yeah, once again, the software is called Ableton Live. My name's Landon, and I'm here to take you through everything that you'll need to kind of start doing this. And, if you're a beginner, this is the video that you want to watch if you want to kind of get started with this. So here goes. All right, so we're here on the laptop screen now. We're looking at the laptop screen now, and I'm going to bring this back in really quick for you. So you might look at this and you might seem very, very intimidated. All these lines running down the screen and what all these colors and stuff, what's all this stuff. Look, trust me when I say it may look intimidating now, but when you get used to it, when I kind of walk you through everything I did to put this together, you're going to understand what's going on and you're not going to think it's so complicated anymore. All right. So let me basically explain to you what's going on here. We have a classic 5-song set list like you would have on a Sunday, maybe. We got A Reason to Dance. Then we got Finished Work. Well, let me start over. We got A Reason to Dance by All Nations. Then we got Finished Work by William McDowell and Daniel Johnson. Then we got You Get the Glory by J.J. Hairston. Then we got You Know My Name by Tasha Cobbs Leonard. And finally, we got Let the Praises Rise by Ty Galbraith. Okay, so that's our 5 songs that we're going to be doing. Okay, and now I'm going to kind of walk you through tracks and what they are and what they do. All right, so basically, if you were wondering what all these bars and colors are, these are stems or the backing tracks that we'll be using. Every single track that you buy from Multi-Tracks or Loop Community, they're going to come with a click track, which sounds kind of like this. It depends on who and where you get it from, but for Multi-Tracks, it sounds like this. And also, they're going to come with a guide cue that kind of tells you where to go. For example, this.
1, 2, intro, 2, 3, 4.
It'll tell you what section is coming up, maybe 4 beats, depending on your meter for the song. But about 4 beats before the next section, it'll tell you where it's going to go so that nobody gets lost. All right, so that's kind of, the tracks are going to play under the live band. I don't have anything taken out for the sake of this experiment. We're just going to keep everything playing. But I will go ahead and tell you now that if you have a drummer on stage, and if you have someone playing piano on stage, you can mute the drums and the piano, then the stems will just sound like this. Yeah, so if you don't need that stuff, you can easily take it out by pressing the number, then it'll turn gray, and that lets you know that it's off. All right, so now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about where to get tracks from. If you're in this kind of situation, church and everything. So let me talk to you really quick. Two of the biggest resources for worship tracks are, and you're gonna want to write this down too. Two of the biggest resources for worship tracks are multi-tracks and loop community. All right, I'll do that one more time for you. We got multi-tracks and then we got loop community. All right, so basically these two websites, they offer you a gigantic library of tracks from artists like Israel and New Breed, William Murphy. I'm trying to think of Elevation Worship. All right, Hillsong, Bethel. Who else? Who else? Give me some names. Who else? Red Rocks. Gospel artists like, I don't know, Tasha Cobbs. I'm not looking at it, so I don't know off the top of my head. But you got BJ Putnam, you got David and Nicole Binion, you got all kinds of artists on there. I'm probably gonna throw in some video of it, so you can kind of see some B-roll, so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. But all kinds of artists like that. Let me kind of give you a little bit of difference between the two. Okay, so multitracks.com, what they do, basically they offer you the original master multitracks. And what that means is you're going to get the stems, just like how I have here. You're going to get the stems, the backing, the individual tracks to the song exactly as you hear it, as if you were listening to it on Apple Music, except for the lead vocal. That's your job to cover. Okay? So I have a couple of tracks in here. I have tracks in here from both websites, Loop Community and Multitracks, just to kind of show you that you can do it with both. You can do this with tracks that you made yourself as well, but I won't get into that as much right now. Okay, so yeah, you'll do some research on that. I will drop both their links in the description, multitracks.com and loopcommunity.com. Go there, get your tracks, import them into Ableton Live right now. And here's what we're going to get to next. So when I zoom out, you see all these lines. You're wondering what all these lines here are. So what these are called locators. And let me explain to you why locators are so important. All right. So, and I talked about this the last time I did an Ableton Live tutorial. This was months and months and months ago. But let me explain to you why locators are so very important. I know if you're watching this, you've probably been in a situation in which maybe not everybody used to do this, but let me just give you a quick scenario, okay? So you're at a church, 2-piece, 3-piece band, drums, keys, who else? Bass, right? Drums, keys, and bass. You're wondering, man, how can I fill out my sound? Drums and keys and bass is okay, but I want to play with a loop. I want to use more keys. I want some horns in here. I want some, more guitar. Well, not more. I want some guitars in here because I have none on stage with me. All right. So you get the wonderful idea to hit GarageBand on your iPad, right? Or you'll do something on your computer maybe to create a track that. So say we're doing a song, say we're doing a song called Lord You're Worthy or something like that. So you made a track for this song, Lord You're Worthy, right? You got it beefed up with guitars, more auxiliary keys. You got it beefed up with horns and everything. And then you bring it to your worship leader, right? You're like, yo, we got this track that we're going to use for this song, Lord You're Worthy, here on Sunday. She's like, he or she is like, that's great. That's cool. All right, let's do it. The one thing that you're thinking about, and this is kind of talking about this guy track here again, it's kind of going into it. So every song has an arrangement. Basically, in this context, what an arrangement is, how a song goes, intro, verse, another verse, pre-chorus, chorus, Now, you're playing, I forgot to mention that you're going to be playing this track on an iPad or an iPhone with the click track split one way so it don't go out to the house. And then, the track on the other side, so that's what comes out in front of the house. Okay, so great. We're playing to the track. All of a sudden, the worship leader, everything's going well. We're playing, everybody's vibing out. It's nice and full. But all of a sudden, the worship leader turns around and gives you one of these. But that's going to kind of be a problem because the way it was recorded, the way I recorded this track that I made for Lord You're Worthy, we didn't repeat this part. We didn't repeat the chorus again. We went straight to the bridge. So what are we to do? Oh no, man. Now we gotta stop the track, and now it's gonna sound empty. Maybe people are gonna hear the difference and wonder what's going on. Look, you will no longer have that problem when you're dealing with Ableton Live. Okay? These things, once again, they're called locators. You put them in the session. Okay, you find out where you want them to go. You put them in your session. That'll not only tell you where you are in your arrangement, but you can also repeat in time a locator. Okay, I'm gonna say that one more time because I think I just felt something. You can repeat in time just in case a leader tells you, let's repeat this part one more time. You can not only repeat it, but you can also jump around the song as you please. And I'm going to show you how to do that right now. Okay, so we're going to kind of talk about, I got 2 points here, locators and key mapping. We're going to kind of talk about that, and I'm going to show you what it means. All right, so let's say we're playing A Reason to Dance right now, okay? So we're going to go ahead and start the count off. Let's see what's going on.
1, 2, intro, 2, 3, 4.
I'm going to do it, and I'm going to show you what I'm doing and how I was able to do it. So we're playing the intro.
Intro.
I don't play keys. Whole band is playing. What the leader says, do the intro again.
Verse 1, breakdown.
4. Yep. I only did it. I should have done it.
Verse
All
1,
right.
breakdown.
Didn't go slow. Okay, so you'll notice that, I might even do it one more time, but you'll notice that when I hit a certain key on my computer, what happened was it went back. You saw this locator here that says intro flashing green. You saw that the playhead went right back to intro in time with the song. It didn't get off the click track. It didn't have to stop. It flowed right back into it. I will do it one more time.
Intro.
So we're doing the intro. Okay, the leader turns around and says, do it again. 2, 1, 2, 3,
breakdown.
4. All right, so allow me to show you how I did that. So I'm gonna take it real slow. This is not the most important thing, but one thing you wanna make sure you have set is your global quantization. That's what's up here, okay? I have it set to 1 bar, which is the standard, because you can press it within 4 beats. It depends on, again, the time signature, but you can press it, in this case, 4/4. You can press it within 4 beats of it going to the next section. And then when it gets to beat 1 of the next measure, that's when the change that you made will take effect. So for example, I'm in A Reason to Dance right now. We're in the intro. Tempo is 130, not too fast, not too slow. Okay, so we're gonna talk about key mapping now. I'm running Mac. If you're running Mac, press Command K, or just go up here and press key to kind of map things to certain keys. Don't let all this stuff intimidate you. And I apologize if I'm going too fast, but don't let all this highlighted stuff intimidate you, okay? Basically, I'm gonna take this off so you can see. What Ableton has, it has these 2 arrows here that allow you to, jump between the different locators, right? So I'm gonna set it at verse 1. I'm gonna press this arrow to the right here. It's gonna take me to the next section. And I'm gonna press 1 so you can see how it
Interlude.
2, 2, 2. So I hit that back arrow and it took me back to interlude here. Okay, so that's cool, but what if I don't have enough time to, while I'm playing my keyboard, turn over and use my trackpad to hit that key with the mouse? All right, so what I'm gonna do, Ableton allows you to key map and MIDI map many things in this software, but I don't want to confuse you because you're new to this. If you're watching this, chances are you're new to this. So we're not gonna talk about a whole lot of that stuff, but I'm gonna hit Command K or press key, and then I'm going to set, since this back arrow here is kind of used as a repeater, I'm going to say R. I'm going to use the R key as that function. Okay, so you don't have to use R. You can use E, you can use M, you can use whatever you want, whatever makes it easier for you, the person who will be running the track. All right, now since this next one will take me to my next locator, or depending on how many times you press it, if you press it 5 times, it'll take you 5 locators forward. Okay, so I'm gonna say N, because N is what starts the word next. So I'm gonna show you Now that I got a key map, I don't have to use my trackpad. All I got to do is press one key. So we're going to do this one more time in the verse.
Pre-chorus. Slowly build.
Then we're doing the verse again. All right. So that's basically kind of the intro to key mapping and locators and how you can use it. Matter of fact, we don't even have to stay on A Reason to Dance. We'll go to finish work. Okay. Okay, so we're in the first verse of finished work. Okay, so you can see we got locators for this song too. I have 133 locators in this set, which makes sense because every song has its own arrangement. So, and it's 5 songs in here. So we're in finished work. Now, say that we're going to do this chorus again. So this song is even slower. It's at 100 beats per minute. And yeah, so we're gonna play through this chorus. Let's say we're going to do the chorus once again. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you'll notice, once again, you will notice that there was no cuts. There was no kind of nothing like that. We didn't have to stop anything. None of that. It repeated in time, on beat. As soon as the one came back, you'll notice it jumped right back to that chorus one more time. Now, I think I said this already. One of the most important parts of playing with tracks is the stems are very important, yes, but the more important thing is these two guys right here.
1, 2, intro, 2, 3, 4.
The click track and the guide track, or the cues track, depending on where you got it from, okay? Obviously, you would not want that sound coming out to the mains to where your audience can hear, unless you want your audience to stay in time. No, I'm just kidding. No. You don't want that to come out through the mains at all. You don't want that to be heard by the audience at all. So, something that we do in order to keep that sound from coming out of the mains is routing. Now, I'm gonna keep this real simple, so I'm not gonna use an audio interface or anything like that. We're not gonna talk about that yet, unless you guys want another video on this with the advanced things, well, the more advanced things. But I'm just going to show you how Ableton does this. So I'm going to switch to session view. Don't freak out. Don't freak out. All right. I just switched to session view by pressing tab. That kind of toggles between the different views. I do all my routing and stuff like that in the session view. So, okay. Now, the click track and the guide once again. I'm going to undo all of this so you can see exactly what's going on here. So I'm going to send it right back to master. Okay. When you first put your tracks that you bought from Multitracks or Loop Community into a session, here's how it's going to be. You're going to have your click, your guide, then the rest of your stems. So if you're just running out of the headphone jack, which we'll get into exactly how your setup is going to look depending on what you got, we'll get into that here in a minute. But if you're just running straight out of the headphone jack on your laptop, which chances are if you're first starting out with this, that's what you're doing. Here's what you're going to do. So, click track and guide. We're going to select these two guys right here. Down here, you're going to see a setting that says Audio 2. Right below that, the default setting, this is how it's going to look when you first get your track and you're building a session yourself and you're not using the one Multitracks get. Well, actually, Multitracks won't route it for you, so scratch that. This is how it's going to look when you first get your track and put it in your session. Okay, Audio 2. Instead of master, don't worry about all this. This is not going to be there. Don't worry about all that. Instead of master, you're going to set it to go to external out. We're not done. Okay, external out, that's the first part of it. But instead of it going to 1 and 2, which means left and right, aka both sides, no splitting, we don't want that. We want the click track to be split away from the rest of our stems. So instead of doing 1 and 2, we're going to send the click track and the guide to 1. Something that we like to do at the gathering. You can see the logo behind me. Something that we like to do at my church. I use both. Okay, not only do I use the click track that came with the session, I use both the Ableton's click track and the one that came in the session. So here's what you want to do to route that away from the rest of the stems as well. You're going to come over here to where it says master, and the Ableton metronome is being sent out of the queue. Okay, so we're going to come over here to queue out, and instead of it being on 1 and 2, both sides, we're going to set it to only be 1. That way, if you have your click track from the session coming down there, they'll be in the same place. All right. And also master out. You can honestly kind of leave that alone, but I like to set my master out to 2 so that they're on 2 different kind of places. Okay. So now that we have our click and our guide on external out 1, that's going to be routed completely away from the rest of the stems, and I'll show you why. So we're going to start with our drums because that's our first real stem. We're going to go all the way to choir because that's the last track for this song. We're going to say audio 2. I'm going too fast now. Audio 2, master. That's how it's going to be by default. Master. Press that. External out. Now we're done. We're going to say external out is 1 and 2. And this actually depends on you. Okay? So if you want it to be a situation in which the click track is on one channel and the tracks is on another channel, meaning if you have your system set up to where you hear the click, if you do not want to hear the tracks in your in-ear monitors, then you can send it to only 2. You can do that. But if you're like us, I want to be able to hear actually where I am in the track. So I send it to 1 and 2 so that the tracks goes to our in-ear monitors as well as the click, and it sends the tracks out to the sound system. Okay, so that's how we do that. So that's why when I get back to arrangement view, that's what all these numbers here are. As a matter of fact, I'll do it in arrangement view too. I'll start over, I'll do it in arrangement view too so you can see what's going on. Okay, so I'm gonna set all these right back to master. So when I close these tracks back up, you'll notice no numbers because I don't have it routed yet. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna select all of these. Now right here, master. That's the same thing we saw in session view. External out. Now they're all on external out. The stems, the musical stems, they're all done. But what I want to do, come up here to click track, guide, select them both, shift click, as you all know. Then I'm going to press 1, and now I'm done. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the whole routing thing. Now you have your system configured to where if you're simply running a headphone jack into a dual 1/4 inch, not running a headphone jack, running an 1/8 inch to dual 1/4 inch splitter out of your headphone jack into a mixer or whatever. Now you have it set to where the click track will not come out of the house because that is something that we don't want. I'll see y'all in the next part. All right, you guys, welcome to part 2. In this part, we're going to kind of start getting into the advanced things like automation. We're going to start talking about kind of using stuff on your laptop to help Ableton Live be able to do stuff for you without you having to think about it. One thing I want to let you know is even though I know this is not always a realistic situation, you know, because this is church and worship we're talking about, anything can happen, you know, the spirit can start to move and we just completely get away from all of this. But if you're at the kind of ministry where you only have a certain time for worship and everything, we're going to be constructing this session to where we're going to make it to where you probably don't have to touch the laptop at all. Okay? So, like I said, I get that it's for the worship leaders out there. Honestly, I get that it's probably not realistic, but we want to build it together to make it a very easy experience for the person running tracks, because we got to remember they're playing an instrument too. Okay, so first thing I'm going to talk about is automation when building a set. Okay, so basically what automation is, I'm going to tell you why we need automation and what it is. So if we look up at the left top corner of the screen, we'll notice these red dots above the tempo and the time signature. What are those for? That's basically Live letting us know, okay, so you've got a couple of changes and automations in here that kind of change it for that specific part of the set. Okay, so once again, I'll let you know, we got 5 different songs in here. We have A Reason to Dance, Finish Work, You Get the Glory. What's this song? You know my name. And then we got the last one, Let the Praises Rise, all right? 5 completely different tempos. We got 130, 100, and it actually goes up to 101 in the middle of the song. Then we got 150, and then we got 49 and 6/8. You see the time signature change up here, it's in 6/8, so that's 49. And then we're back to 4/4 and we got 80. Okay, let me show you, and I'll prove it to you too. I'll turn off the click track and I'll keep Ableton's on, because Ableton's click track is the complete master tempo above everything. So I'll turn this click off. You can hear that's perfectly with the track. Okay? Now I'll turn the click off for song 2 so you can hear it. It's locked. Okay, song 3. And this one is from Loop Community too. Okay. It's locked in there with that too. Song 4, You Know My Name. Let me let you hear this. Alright, we'll get into all of this stuff, y'all. We're gonna get into every last bit of this. By the end of this video, you will be better than me at building Ableton live sessions, bro. I'm telling you. Okay? This song is one of my favorites. But anyway, okay, so you'll see that the Ableton Live click track is 100% locked with all 5 of these tracks, even without the click from the session. Okay, let me let you might be wondering, hey man, how do I do it? You proved it to me, how do I do it? All right, I'm gonna take it real slow. So break out your notepads, your pens, everything that you got, write this down, because we're gonna get into this. All right, so what I'm doing for this is I'm going to show you that I'm going to actually start a new session and do it myself, because the next part of this is actually showing you how to build a whole session like this, how to build an entire Ableton Live set yourself. Okay, so here's what I like to do. I like to unfold my master track. This is the last one. It's way down here. I'll even get rid of these 2 tracks here to make it a little more simple. Master is the only track here, so I'm going to press A, which means automation. And if you don't want to press A, then you can go to the I don't know about arrow, but it's kind of right up here, right above the track list. It'll turn blue when you press it. It's kind of like an automation line icon. So this red line is the tempo of the current song. Then when it's time for the next song to begin, I'll drop it down. And you can kind of see I got a transition going on here, which I'll kind of play for you so you can see it. All right. As soon as this song is fading out,
1,
finish work
2,
begins.
Intro 2,
Okay.
3, 4.
So I kind of got a cool transition right there, and I'll show you how I did it. So when it's time for finished work to begin, this line drops down from 130 to 100. And that way, that'll tell Ableton, okay, so at measure 168, I'm supposed to bring my tempo down so the click track can fit the next fit the tempo of the next song. So I'm gonna do it again, and I want you to look up to the top left of the screen where the tempo is to see how it jumps down. See, check this out. We're in the end of a reason to dance. So pay attention, take a look up there.
1.
It just jumped right down
Intro.
to 100 from 130. Okay, so finished work is a little bit weird, because there's a point in time in this song where the tempo right here at the interlude, measure 246, there's a point in time where it kind of comes up to 101 from 100. That's not gonna, of course, that won't be the case with every song. I'm not sure what happened in recording this, but I was able to do it anyway because I knew where it was. And multi-tracks, actually, what's cool about them, if you buy a session from them, then they'll actually build the session for you in Ableton and you can just drop it in. But take a look once again at the tempo up there to see it kind of come up. See, it's at 100 right now. I'm probably gonna get all kinds of copyright strikes for this video, but hey man, if it means you guys are being helped, give me all of it. But take a look up there. It comes up to 101. And you can see that I automated it right because the tempo continues to follow the click. Okay, so we're at 101, and now we're at our next song here, which is at, what is it, 150? Okay, I didn't actually do it the way I wanted to. I like to when you press it with 2 fingers on the trackpad, it kind of gives you a shape. I like to have it just immediately drop right down. It doesn't matter. You can do this whatever way you want. It's kind of like an automatic draw thing, but you can kind of see the tempo rise up at the end of this song, okay? So we're at the end of finished work. As this line goes up, I'm gonna do it multiple times so you can see it. As this line here goes up, the tempo up here will go up too. Okay, so we're at the end of finished work. I want you to see it. Check it out. We're getting to it right here. Pay attention to the line first. You can see it's very slowly going up.
Well, not slowly. It didn't go up slowly, but it's coming up. Okay, so now I'm gonna do it again, and I want you to watch the tempo in the top left corner. See, check that out. It's about to come up real fast.
Intro.
And now the click track matches the click track in the session. Both clicks are with each other. It's locked, but the important thing is they're both locked with the track. All right, so next up we got You Know My Name, and this one is a special case because it's the only one in the whole session that's 6/8. Okay, so it's gonna drop right down when it's time for You Know My Name to begin. It's gonna drop right down to the tempo that we need, 49. See, check it out.
1, 2,
Well, let me go back a little bit.
1,
Okay, the tempo immediately changed. The time signature immediately changed, and here's how you do that up here. The time signature in Ableton. If you want to have a time signature change in your set, which it might happen in one song. If there's some kind of turnaround or something, it might happen in one song, or you may be building a set. But basically, click the touchpad with 2 fingers. All right, it's going to give you a few options here to add locator, delete all the time signature changes. Let's not press that. Then insert time signature change. You can choose whichever one you want. You know, it depends on what your situation is. But yeah, that's how you do that. Okay, so I think we're still talking about automation. Yeah. Okay, so once it's time for You Know My Name's in, also, really quick, come down here to master. All right, what I did down there, basically Ableton Live likes to give you a range. Like, you can see that since I have 49 entered in the space to the left, that's why the bar is so low. It's kind of like a range. My slowest song in my set is 49 beats per minute. My fastest song in my set, 150 beats per minute. So since this current song that we're at right now is at 49, that's why the bar can't possibly go any lower. Now, however, if I was to set it to 30, you can see the bar come up because that's not the lowest tempo in the set anymore. So, okay, we're gonna put that back to make it easier for me to automate. All right, so let's go back up to You Get the Glory. It's at 150, so the bar can't go any higher than what it's at right now because that's my fastest song. All right, so that's just something quick that I want to share with you that I do to make it easier for me to automate. All right. Also with these, when you're connecting these dots here, if you don't want to slide it, and you don't have to deal with that number, hit edit value, type in whatever tempo you want. It'll be right there for you. All right. So when You Know My Name is over, the ending of You Know My Name, even while those tracks are still fading out, what's going on is the count off for Let the Praises Rise begins, and we definitely have to make sure that we put the time signature back at 4/4, of course, because this song is in 4/4. Okay, so we're gonna take a quick listen to that. Check it out. Okay, we're not even gonna talk about what just happened with the click track. I'll get into that in just a minute. You'll think that's really cool. It's one of the advanced things, but you'll think it's really cool once you learn how to do it. All right. Here's Let the Praises Rise.
2, 3, 4.
That's really, really nice how the transition works to where while we're swelling on the one, getting ready to finish off You Know My Name, we're getting ready to go into another song in the same key. The count off starts while we're doing that ending. Let you listen again. All right. 2, 3, 4. Then our song starts. Okay. So now that I've shown you how to do it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a new session. I'm going to put a few, of course, I'm not going to make it look like this, but I'm going to put a few tracks in there to show you how you can do all this stuff yourself. So one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to copy my markers track because I'm not going to put all these locators in there. Really quick, what a markers track is, you know, I look at the locators, then I create a MIDI track, Command-Shift-T. I create a MIDI track to, you know, just tell me kind of where I am. Like, for example, pre-chorus, chorus breakdown, chorus, you know, stuff like that. You know, so I'm going to copy that. It's not going to make any noise. It's just there to kind of show you what's going on. Also, while I'm here, when you're using a markers track, you can also use it if you're a music director or if you're the one running the track. you can kind of put stuff in there to remind you what's going on. You know, so like you can say, oh, okay, play the 1 here, or play the 5 here. Or if it's a song like You Know My Name, the song is it's got a lot of words in it. You know, so maybe for the chorus you can say, okay, so this is when they say, oh, how you walk with me or whatever, you know? That's actually what we actually did that once. But, okay, we're in a completely new session, blank slate, nothing here, nothing routed, nothing is in here, nothing's going on, okay? So I'm going to start from the ground up. I'm going to show you what's popping off with this. I'm going to drop in our first song, which is A Reason to Dance. Now I'm going to drop in the multi-track here. All of our tracks are here. That's what happens. You can see here, that's what happens when you know, drop in a session that multi-tracks made for you, okay? So as you can see, the tempo for this song is 130, so I'm going to set that, okay? Now I'm going to drop in my markers track. Let me see if I can create a MIDI track. I'm going to drop in that markers track so I can see where everything is, okay? So here's that. And I'm going to show you how you can just do all this yourself. Okay, so let's play it real quick.
2, intro, 2, 3, 4.
I actually downloaded it in a lower key, but I'll show you how you can fix that too. Warping, I'll show you how you can fix that. Okay, so say the worship leader, we're in rehearsal, the worship leader's like, hey, you know what? And you know they do it too. Hey, you know they do it too. They'll be like, you know what? You know, I don't really know if I like this key. Let's see if we can bring it up by 1. Pay close attention. This is what's going to happen. Here we go. All right. So warping is how you solve that issue. And also, I'm so sorry. I got to show you one more thing. Okay. We're going to go into our preferences, which is either command comma or come up here, live preferences. Okay. When you first get Ableton Live, there's something that you're going to have to make sure that you do. Okay. So let me find record, warp, launch, auto warp, long samples. Make sure that is all the way off. When you first get Ableton Live, it's going to be on, I think. But just in case, I don't remember when I installed it on my computer here, it was off. But make sure the first thing you do, don't let the first thing you do be, okay, let me produce a track or let me drop in my multi-track. No. First thing you need to do when you first get into Ableton Live, make sure auto warp long samples is turned all the way off. No. Make sure it's off. Okay, now that we got that very gentle reminder out the way, let's see about warping these tracks so we can make it come up a key. All right, so I'm going to go through and select all my different tracks here. I'm going to turn warp on. And now what I'm going to do is I'm only going to select the tracks that have like actual music, not percussive stuff like my loop and my drums and my click track. Okay, so I'm going to only select from choir up here to bass. These are already warped. I'm going to, and I think you can do all this in Ableton Live Intro, trial, whatever. I'm running Ableton Live 10 standard. So, but all these options you see here are available in Ableton Live Intro, which is only $99, $100. So if you see this and you want to start doing this, Ableton Live Intro is $100. And even if you don't decide to get that, if you want to test the waters real quick, they have a 90-day free trial. I don't know how long they're going to keep that going. It used to be 30, but they have a free trial that you can use Ableton Live Suite and get absolutely everything. You can do more in that trial than what I'm doing because I'm only running standard. But anyway, we're gonna make this set to tones because we want the music. We don't want the music to be all choppy and trying to find a rhythm to play to. Okay, so we want to not quantize, but we want to set it to warp the tones. Now these, the loop, the drums, maybe the guide and the click can stay on beats. Okay, so now that we did that, I'm going to select choir through bass again. Every track in here is selected because I held down shift. They said they wanted to come up by 1 key. Okay, I'm going to hit transpose and I'm going to select transpose, and I'm going to hit my right arrow key to make it come up. This is what it sounded like before.
1, 2,
So
intro,
we're in C
2,
right
3,
now.
4.
Let me select my tracks. And I'm going to bring it up.
Intro,
Yep. And you can see there's nothing going on with the music
Verse 1,
because I made sure to make it go on tones. So nothing's going on with the music. If I had it set to beats, then it would have been trying to find, it would have sounded a little bit choppy, because it was trying to, really, I don't know what word to use, but it was really trying to find that beat within all the clips. Ableton's really good at messing with the tracks, but we want to cut down on that as much as possible. Okay, so now that we've done that, now that the song is in the right key, we got our markers track here. Once again, I'll kind of show you an example. Okay, so like the guide right here is saying, slowly build.
Pre-chorus, slowly build.
I don't usually put that in I don't usually put dynamics on my locators because I'll put that in my markers track, and maybe I'll say slowly build, also play the 4 here. Play the 4, and that'll remind me if I look over to the computer while I'm playing, I'm like, okay, so I know to play the 4 there, but I don't need that there. All right, so here's another really, 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 really cool thing I want to show you. Okay, I'm going to head back. I'm going to save this really quick, and I'm going to head back to my other session and show you what I did with the MIDI track in there. And this is where we're going to start getting into other stuff on your computer. Okay, you'll notice track 31 here, the pink one, is called Stop Click. So the reason why I have this in my session is, like I said, I'm always using the Ableton Live click. I'll use the session click, but I always use the Ableton Live click track. Okay, so here's one right here. So this is a song that kind of has one of those slow endings that kind of slows down in the end. So I'm gonna have my click track on. This is In My Life Be Glorified. You Get the Glory. So we're gonna play through, and I'm gonna show you what's gonna happen with the click. Take a listen.
Take it out.
The Ableton click, let me do it again. I didn't touch it. The Ableton click turned off by itself because of this MIDI cue right here. See, check it out. I'll even put my hands up. It turned off all by itself. And I'll tell you, I was able to do this because of the IAC driver. The IAC driver. That stands for Inter-Application Communications Driver. Okay? What that is, it basically allows Ableton to kind of, make, I don't know the fullness of what it does. It allows you to, send MIDI to other apps on your laptop, but I'll kind of unfold this here. You can see I'm using IAC driver channel 1. I'll show you how to set this up. Okay, so I'm going to hit Command Space. I'm going to search for Audio MIDI Setup. Audio MIDI Setup. This app is already, on your MacBook when you first get it. So I'm going to hit Command 2 to go to my MIDI Studio IAC driver. I think by default it says device. It has devices online unchecked. Make sure you check that, and that's what's going to turn it on and activate it. Now we're going to bring it back to Ableton. We're going to go back to our preferences. Then we're going to say, I forget which one to go to, but we're going to go to Link and MIDI. Then we're IAC driver. As soon as you put it online, it'll be here under MIDI ports. Make sure it's on track and remote on both the input and the output. Sync doesn't matter. You can have it on or off, but if you want to reduce kind of the wear on the CPU just a little bit, you can have track on and remote on for both the input and the output, and that's what's going to activate it in our case. So once again, I'll play it for you and show you there's a MIDI note here that's going to, let me hit Command M. That's what allows you to MIDI map stuff. So for example, if you're using a keyboard or something to hit a key on that keyboard to do something in Ableton, it's the same way here. Okay, so that's what the purple means. Okay, so you can see when you look up to the click track here, it's got a number and a note on it. What I did was I put a MIDI note here right before the ending of the song to turn that click track off, and then that'll turn it off so we can have our soft flowing ending without a tempo, So the MIDI note here, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna start over and show you exactly how I did this in that other session. But there's the note down here, and the note is activating that function in Ableton Live. So, and then I bring it back before the next song. I'm gonna bring it back. So now that it's off, here's what's gonna happen when my name begins.
1,
Right back on.
2.
So now that you can kind of see what it does, I'm gonna head to my other session, and I'm going to show you exactly how I was able to make this happen. Okay, now I don't know, I didn't plan exactly how I'm gonna do this, but Okay, we're just gonna do it. We're just gonna do it. Shoot from the hip. Okay, so Command Shift T. That's what's gonna create my MIDI track. Okay, I'm just gonna do it randomly. Okay, so currently it's set to no output. Instead of no output, we're gonna say IAC driver bus 1. And once again, we already got it configured for track and remote, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. Okay, now I'm going to put a MIDI note right here. And if you're on Ableton Live 10, all you gotta do is just double click it up there, and then you have a clip right there. I'm going to select a note down here on the piano roll. Okay, and to create the note, all you gotta do is double tap wherever you want it. I'm gonna drag it out for the entire thing just so that I know it's there. And then what I'm gonna do, since once again our IAC driver is already activated, so we don't have to worry about anything else, I'm gonna hit Command M to set my MIDI map. I'm gonna make sure this is nice and selected. Then I don't know what I'm gonna map it to. I'm gonna map it to the click track again, just so you can see. All right, so here's what I want to make sure that I do. I want to make sure that when I select it, I have to select it either before or during the MIDI note, so that way when the MIDI note plays, that's when the MIDI function will activate. See, so check it out. I hope I do this right. I really hope this works. Okay, so let me make sure it's selected. I'm gonna see if I can map it. I click the metronome.
Instrumental.
Hopefully it activates and comes on. So you see, we see a note there right now. We see a note there. So if the click track wasn't on before, I'm gonna get out of MIDI mode, Command M. If the click track wasn't on before, as soon as this MIDI note hits, it's gonna toggle it. So if it's off, when this MIDI note hits, it'll be on, and the same thing the other way around. See, so check it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, and you'll notice that the click track kind of started on beat 2 and not beat 1. So maybe what you might want to do is bring it back so it activates a little sooner, so we'll be able to hear that 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh well, it was on. Let me do it one more time. Sorry, it was on. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we hear that 1. Okay, so I'm gonna start over because this is one of the advanced things. This is one of the nerdy things. So I'm gonna start completely over. I'm gonna do it all over again. So I'm gonna create my MIDI track, Command Shift T. I'm gonna put it up here with everything else. I'm gonna turn it gray. I usually like my tracks like that, gray. Well, I usually like my markers track gray. I'll keep it white. So I'm gonna create my MIDI note right here. Double tap because I'm using the Ableton Live 10. Find whatever note you want. I'm gonna double click the note that I want just so I can see it. I'm gonna drag it out so the whole thing can be seen. Okay, now that we have our note here, we need to give it something to do. So our IAC driver is activated. All that stuff is taken care of. We are good. So I'm gonna hit Command M to see everything that Ableton allows me to MIDI map. Excuse me. See that everything that Ableton allows me to MIDI map. Okay, so I'm gonna take this off because that's old. Take the map off the metronome. So I got a new one now, replaced. Okay, so I want to make sure that I activate it before or during the activation of the MIDI note. Okay, so before the playhead actually hits that MIDI function. I'm gonna bring it back a little bit too. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna let it play. Okay, that was zoomed out quite a lot. Sorry. So I'm gonna make sure it's selected. I'm gonna let it play. Oh, see. Now look, you might be wondering, okay, well, he's embarrassed because it didn't work. That's because I forgot to set my output. Make sure your output is set to IAC driver bus 1. That was definitely planned. That was definitely planned. Don't let anybody tell you different. But anyway, now that I have my IAC driver output set, I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna make sure it's selected. I'm still in MIDI mode. So we're gonna zoom out a little bit so I got some time.
Instrumental.
Hit it. And you see that note appear right there. So that means when I get out of MIDI mode by hitting Command M once again, if the click track is off, it's gonna turn on when this MIDI note hits the playhead. Check it out. It's on. Okay, so now that I've taught you all of this stuff like putting tracks together and building the track and doing all this stuff like that, making it kind of look like this, your locators and stuff. I think I forgot to teach you how to do it, but it's really, really simple. To create a locator, all you gotta do is not double tap, but put 2 fingers on the trackpad add locator, or either that, or go to where you want it to go and then just hit set up here. So just hit set. Yeah, simple as that. All right, so now that I have taught you how to kind of put stuff together and how to automate and do all that different stuff like that, I'm going to teach you how to get sound out of your laptop. So I'll see you guys in the next part. All right, so this is after I recorded part 2. I'm back in my emptier session. I don't remember if I taught you in depth how to actually automate stuff. So I'm gonna go into that really quickly right now. This is why I got notes to my side so I can remember these things. But I'm going to drop in finished work right after a reason to dance. So I'm going to just kind of drag in the multi-track, and I'm going to put it over here to this side. Now you'll notice that when I get here, the tempo is still 130, but finished work is not at 130. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm not even gonna worry about routing, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit A, unfold my master track. I'm gonna set my lower tempo to 100. That's gonna be the bottom of my range and my highest to 130. Okay, so pay close attention here. It's fairly simple, and I'm gonna show you the normal way to do it and also how I do it, but there's really no right and wrong way to do it. But anyway, I'm gonna create a dot right here by simply clicking. Then I'm going to create another dot and I'm gonna have it go down. I'm just gonna have it shoot straight down. And I did that by selecting the shape that kind of lets it just go straight down. Okay, and I don't need that there. So the tempo was 130, but at measure 177, as soon as finished work starts, that's when the tempo in Ableton is going to drop down to 100. You see, the red dot wasn't there before, letting you know that you did an automation in tempo. But you see, now that we got it, what's going to happen? Ableton's click is going at 130. And now that I put this automation there,
1,
yeah,
2,
it just shoots straight down to 100. So in case you missed that, what I did was this. All right. So I created a dot here. You can do this anywhere you want. It doesn't have to be right at the end, but that's the way I like to do it. Maybe you want to do it like this. As soon as the song ends, maybe you want to have it slowly running down. Maybe if you want to have that space, you want to have it slowly running down to where it starts at the tempo of the first song. Either way you do it, it will start at the right tempo, so as long as you create the dot in the right place. So you can see the tempo is constantly going down and down and down from 130 to 100 until the click track is locked with finished work.
1, 2.
And as we can tell, it is. So I created my range down here. That's why 100 is way down there and 130 is way up here, just for ease of automation. And that's how you automate your tempo for a set list in Ableton Live. Now onto getting sound out of your laptop for the tracks. Sorry about that. All right, on to the next part. All right, everybody, welcome to the third and final part of this tutorial. I still don't know exactly what I'm going to call it. I'll figure something out. But welcome to the third and final part of this tutorial. I am going to teach you right now how, okay, so we've done all the work. We've built the session. Everything is fine in that way. But how am I going to get the audio from this session that I worked so hard on actually out to my sound guy so the people in the audience and the people in the congregation or whatever your situation is can hear it? I'm here to help you with that right now. Okay, so chances are, if you're using Ableton Live, there's a 103% chance that you are using, let me set my color first. I just started learning this last night, so forgive me if I make any mistakes. But chances are you're using a laptop if you're running Ableton Live. So I'm going to do that right there, okay? And I'm going to grab my text, and hopefully it's not black, but I'm going to say laptop, and I'm going to change that to white if I can, okay? Yeah, there it is. Okay, so you're using a laptop, okay? Now, I'm going to do this in two different situations. I'm going to start with the situation in where you're doing it like us currently, and you're running an analog type situation, and you're using a mixer on stage. All right, so that's it for that. So here's how you're going to do that. So you have if you're doing this, you have an 1/8 inch to dual 1/4 inch splitter, which if you don't know what that is, I'll toss up a photo of it right here. And now that's the cable that we're gonna run out of our laptop into a mixer on the stage. So let me do that accordingly. I really hope this part of it goes well because I didn't really plan for this. So I'm gonna say mixer. And also here, I'm going to say 1/8 inch to dual 1/4 inch splitter. Maybe not splitter, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, that's the cable. And also let me kind of draw another kind of cable so you get the idea that it's a dual 1/4 inch. Okay, so from the mixer, I'm gonna kind of give you a little bit of, just go into a little bit of how this is how we run our in-ear monitoring system. So we talked about before how it's a left and right situation. You want to send your click track and your guide as well as your tracks, if you want to do that, to the left side and just tracks to the right side. So I'm going to say top is left. Oh, what is that? Top is left, and then, you know, the bottom is right. Okay, you like that nice clean R? Okay, I don't know what's going on with the L. But anyway, okay, so here's the left side. Since the left side is carrying our click and our tracks, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have that cable, the main out left on our mixer that's on the stage, we're gonna have that come out to my headphone amp, okay? And I'll just grab some text here and say HA. Okay, that's headphone amp. That's what I plug my in-ear monitors into. Hopefully, real soon we're gonna get that newer system we're talking about. So we're talking about upgrading to digital. Can't wait. Okay, now, so the left side is gonna come out to my headphone amp. The right side, chances are you're running your system like this too, but I'll explain a little more in detail what you can do depending on what your case is. All right, so the main output right is going to come out into a DI box, a direct input or direct inject box. Okay, so I'll say DI box. So you're gonna plug in the main output right from your mixer into a DI box. And of course, like I said, depending on what your situation is, you might come from the DI box into your stage snake or your stage box. Depending on what you have, I'll say stage box, or snake. Oh well, sorry about that. I can't put it. Yeah, so snake, all right? Because they don't let you edit text on here. I don't know why. So snake, all right? That's what's gonna come out. That's what's gonna make the track sound go into your front of house mixing board. I don't know why the snake is almost bigger than the front of house board, but we're just gonna roll with that. So front of house sound console board, whatever. Okay, so this is exactly how we do it at my church. Matter of fact, let me go outline the cables that you're actually doing this with. So when you're running it to the headphone amp, it's a standard 1/4 inch cable. When you're running it into the DI box, it's a standard 1/4 inch cable. When you're running it from the DI box to the stage box or snake, it's going to be an XLR cable. When you're running it from the stage box to the front of house board, you know, it's going to, if you have a Behringer X32 or something like that, of course, it's going to be a Cat 5 that carries all your audio. But if it's, as you know, with snakes and stuff like that, it's got the different XLR. So we're just going to go ahead and say XLRs. All right. So this is how you do it. If you're running a situation like my current situation where it's analog, you got a mixer on the stage and stuff like that. Now, pardon me as I learn how to clear all this out. Matter of fact, you know what? I know how to do this. Here's what I can do. Set the outline to black. No, we're going to start over. Let's clear all this out. Okay? Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to get some text on here that outlines, if you're doing this digitally, so this is a digital situation, okay? And if you're using an audio interface, all right? Now, we have not used an audio interface doing this yet, so don't get me wrong on that, but I've seen enough videos and I've studied enough to know what to do in that situation. All right, so here we go. Once again, we're gonna start. If you're using Ableton Live, there's a 103% chance that it's going to be on what? A laptop. So we're gonna get our laptop. Now, instead of a headphone cord, an 1/8 inch, that 1/8 inch to dual 1/4 inch thing we talked about earlier, if we're using an audio interface, chances are we're using Firewire or USB. So I'm gonna put that there in just a second. That's a really nice looking audio interface. Wow. Yeah, you guys should buy that one. Okay, so Firewire, USB. Okay, this is our audio interface. A really good looking one. Okay, so let me kind of walk you through really quick what that is. Audio interface, basically for this context, you can basically use it to route your different inputs, route your different tracks, to inputs and outputs on the audio interface. So I'm gonna give you a quick situation and how you can do that. So say, for example, I have an 8-channel audio interface, okay? So let me put some text on the screen here. Maybe what I can do, and I really hope I do this right, maybe what I can do is I'll have my first channel dedicated to Click and Guide. Maybe I can have my second channel. This is not looking like it's gonna work. Okay, so my second channel, I can have, well, maybe I wanna run a stereo channel. So on my second and third channel, I can have, stereo loops and effects. Stereo loops and effects. Okay? Now maybe on stereo channels 4 and 5, I can have stereo guitars. Because you wanna have the flexibility to pan all that stuff. You don't want it all to be sitting in one place. And then on stereo channels 6 and 7, I can have stereo keys. And I forgot all about bass, but we can make bass 8. So stereo keys on channel 6 and 7, okay? And 8 we can have as bass. Now, of course, when we don't need the bass track, we can use it for an auxiliary type thing, like vocals. But I want my vocals to be stereo. But this is just a situation, a scenario that's not actually going to be used. And I don't know what I can do about that. But we're gonna just kind of shrink that down so it's out of the way. I don't know how we remove text on it here. I don't know why we don't. I guess I gotta do it this way. Let me get that out of the way. Okay, so now that we're good on that, we're gonna head back to our pencil here. So our audio interface. So we're sending our tracks via USB into our audio interface. So from the audio interface, unless you get something like the Loop Community Track Rig, where it's an interface and a DI box all in one, if you're doing this the classic way, you're gonna have to use your individual outputs on that audio interface. So let's say we got 8 channels. Hope I don't embarrass myself. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Each of these channels is going to have to go into their own DI box, okay? So, okay, we're just gonna go ahead and pretend that like that's split into 8. Matter of fact, here's what I'll do. I'll say 8 DI boxes. Okay, so each channel, each output on that audio interface is gonna have to go into its own DI box. Now, from those DI boxes to the 8 different channels on your, let's go back to the text, to 8 different channels on your snake/stage box. Okay, so what the reason why we're doing this, you may think that this seems like a whole lot, but the reason why we're doing this is so our audio engineer can have much more control over how the tracks sound. So he can be back there on the board instead of him only receiving, okay, so I got the tracks channel that's carrying loops, that's carrying bass, carrying keys, guitars, vocals, everything else in there you got is carrying all of that on one single fader. With this, like I said, it may seem like a whole lot to do, but with this, he can be back there mixing, and he can actually mix the tracks as if it was like actually there in the room on stage playing live. So like I said, you can do it like that. And if you get, for example, we don't currently have a bassist, it's just the 2 of us currently. I'm not ashamed to say that, it's just the 2 of us. But if we ever get a bassist and we're running it this way, instead of plugging in from the audio interface on the bass output into the bassist DI, the bassist can come and plug his bass into that DI. And the sound engineer will be able to mix it as if, oh, okay, well, it's just another bass stem. Yeah, you can just easily replace it. Instead of you plugging in an output from your audio interface, just have the live bassist plug into that DI box. So, same thing from last time. From the snake to the stage box, that's gonna go all the way back to our mixing board, our front of house mixing board. I'm gonna go ahead and put that there, FOH mixing board. And let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Let me go back and make sure I outline these cables. So from the audio interface, these are going to be XLR outs. And from the DI boxes, well, actually, the audio interfaces, okay, so the audio interface is 1/4 inch. I'm so sorry. I embarrassed myself. Let me do that again. Okay, let me try and take the size down of this paintbrush here. All right. So the audio interface, and I messed with the lines too, but the audio interface is going to be 1/4 inch outputs. I'm so sorry about that. Then that's going to go into the DI box, because all the time, or depending on what DI box you have, I'm pretty sure it's all of them, but it's going to take 1/4 inch inputs. Then from the outputs of the DI boxes, those will be XLR. Okay. So XLR to the stage box, and then, you know, depending on what kind of system you're running, the stage box will be connected to the front of house mixing board. Okay, that is pretty much it for this Ableton Live Beginner's Worship tutorial. I still don't know the official name of what I'm going to call it, but really I decided to record this video on today because I really wanted to help somebody out that was looking on a way for how to do this. And I know I've done Ableton tutorials before, but we're really starting to step into a new season, which everything is going digital now. Everybody's starting to use tracks and stuff like that now if they haven't. So I really wanted to put this video out there for 2020 and 2021 so people can really see how to start it from the ground up. People who don't have the most exemplary sound systems, people who can just start it up, start doing it, give you a really basic tutorial, everything that it does, everything that it can do. This video is probably going to be over an hour long, but if that's what it takes to help somebody out there, I'm really glad that you were able to stick around and watch. I know I took up a lot of your time, but I hope that I was able to share something with you today that helps you take your worship ministry, I don't know which way it's going to point, but to the next level. All right. So once again, if we haven't met yet, my name is Landon. You know, you can follow me on Instagram. I'll put that right here. You know, you can subscribe, leave a like on this video, share it with somebody who you think or who you know wants to get started doing tracks and everything. And I really hope that you can comment below and show me some stuff that I missed, or show me some stuff I did wrong, or show me some stuff that, you know, that you do differently at your situation or in your situation. You know, and once again, I thank you for sticking around in this video. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for listening to me talk for way too long. And I really appreciate everybody watching. So like, share, subscribe, and I don't have any drum videos to post this week, so this will have to do it for the week. But anyway, man, thanks everybody for watching. I really appreciate you all, and I'll see you guys in the next video.